Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And then for those of you that are new, welcome to my platform. My name is Astraea Love, and I'm here to entertain you, to give you guys a psychic reading. And hopefully you'll get to connect with the Most High God today. So just a little update. Okay. I've been really lenient with you guys on the Cash Apps and stuff like that. So I am very appreciative of everybody that sends a Cash App with a question. I have no problem pausing the collective reading to answer your question, but I will not be taking PayPal or Cash App. I won't be answering questions for any PayPal or Cash App because I can't just pause what I'm doing and go and check those sites to make sure that you guys sent the right amount of money. And yesterday I received one that was for the incorrect amount of money. Okay. It's not $15. It's not $10. It's $20. And so trying to avoid paying the $20 super chat and just going to my Cash App or PayPal is done. So anything that gets sent through Cash App or PayPal, I'm going to consider that as a tip. And I won't be answering questions for it. Okay. My price is my price, and that's my boundary. Don't cross that. It's extremely disrespectful. To fuck over a spiritual person is extremely disrespectful. Actually, to fuck over any type of person, I'm gonna be quite honest. Especially because I'm like on here giving you guys free readings every day, and you have no idea what it puts me through to have to dig into your guys' demons and shit. And I really dislike having to read people's energy sometimes because you guys have demonic attachments and bullshit that I get sick with and I have to go fucking deal with afterwards. So, my price is my price. Don't try to take advantage of me or you'll get blocked. And trust me, I don't want to have to be a bitch, but this shit is uncalled for. So anyways, I already have YouTube fucking with me. I don't need anybody else fucking with me. And if you came here to take advantage of me, then know that you're up under judgment for that shit. So anyways, I've specifically told the people that are broke as fuck to stay away from me and stop trying to bring that poverty shit and in my direction. $20 is not a lot of money. That is like ridiculously fucking cheap. That's as cheap as I can go. I did $10 with you guys for a year, so it would just respect my boundary. If I say $20 a question, then, and you want me to dig into your life, and not only that, y'all, mostly people come to me to ask about somebody the fuck else. And that shit pisses me off because I don't want to be going in. First of all, I'm already having to open up myself up to your demons. Now I have to open up myself to somebody else's demons that I don't even know, that's not even here to consent to me reading their energy. So when I say the boundaries of like, make sure the question has to do with you so that you're not putting me in a position where I'm going to get my head taken the fuck off because I'm reading somebody else's energy that who knows what's going on with them. So that's really just not fucking cool. So yeah, I've said it many times. I don't want to have to keep repeating myself, but it is what it is. I have to repeat myself every day. But yeah, I know some people really are not thankful. It's fucking crazy. It's like going around behind my back to go to Cash App to send me and saying, okay, I sent a Cash App, and not giving me time to check to see if you sent the right amount. That's fucking low, dude. So anyways. All right. So make sure you guys are familiar with my legal disclaimer. It is in the description box below. But by watching my videos, you're agreeing to the contract of being in control of yourself, being responsible for yourself, and with any of the information being channeled, be on your best behavior because the Most High God is watching and the Holy Spirit is listening. By watching my videos, you're agreeing to not attack, bully, or persecute me for my calling. That's what just popped out, the Magician in the reverse. Wow. I try to keep my cards like all in the upright because I don't want just straight up negative shit to come out. But when it pops out like that, it's like, what do you even say about that? What do we even say about that? Okay, so by watching my videos, you're also agreeing not to persecute me, bully me, harass me, or steal my messages because they're not really my messages. All this stuff comes from God. I'm not like creating it within myself or making it up or anything like that. So I literally just relay what is relayed to me. Okay, so I ask that the Most High God and the Holy Spirit continue to protect us from any type of black magic, any type of wickedness, And then I also ask that God and the Holy Spirit and the archangels please block out anyone or anything that would try to negatively influence or impact this reading in any way. I pray for the highest light, the highest wisdom, and the highest truth to be revealed to me and my collective. And I pray for all of my subscribers. Yeah, that everyone becomes enlightened. I ask now as I call upon God's favor to give us the full armor of God for protection during my life's mission and work here on the earth. I am eternally grateful for your favor, Heavenly Source, and for your unfailing love. Thank you for blessing me and my subscribers. And thank you for healing the sick and creating miracles and creating nature and creating everything that you've created, because we really appreciate it. In your holy name, Lord my God, I give gratitude and thanks. I pray into thy holy presence and meditate upon your divine will. Amen. So I had really good dreams last night. Yeah, you did have a feeling about that one yesterday. Yeah, I didn't pick up on it because I was just in the zone. But okay, so I had an awesome dream. So you guys, you know when you're having a dream and then you wake up and then you're like, you want to go back into that same dream? Okay, I had that experience. So I just want to tell you guys because it's really interesting to me. So in my dream, I was at my childhood home, which is somewhere that I go in the dream state a lot because I know it like the back of my hand, the home that I grew up in, right? So I had in my dream, I had Odin. Odin came to me in a flying saucer, and he had two other smaller flying saucers that were his ravens. And then I also was interacting with Thor, and I was just having a good time, like just really having fun in the dream state. So I was like, damn, I didn't want to get up. I was like, okay, go back into the same dream, go back to the same dream. And I would go into the same dream and then something would pull me out of it again. But anyways, they were saying quite a few interesting things about life in this realm and how it's affected by the higher realms. They were basically describing to me like ancestry. Your dreams were clouded yesterday. Yeah, they were describing to me ancestry, how like let's say an ancestor from the past. Basically, they were showing me a version of myself that was on this earth that looked exactly like this, or very similar to this, I would say. I was Joan of Arc, I believe. And they showed me how one lifetime throwing, just like imagine you're skipping a stone across water. That little act in itself, which is not a negative or a positive act, it's just skipping against water, that creates a butterfly effect. So it's like we really do experience the emotions that our ancestors are experiencing, and then vice versa, because time is not fluid and it's not linear either. Well, it's like something other like than that. It's kind of like water, but it's definitely not linear. And so there could be something that triggers today that my ancestor went through 100,000 years ago, right? And it could be about skipping rocks, like something just seemingly meaningless, right? But there's still a night every time that you have one of those ancestral where you're doing something your ancestor has done, you're actually opening yourself up to gain all of the information and knowledge. Yeah. Well, if it wasn't Joan, I think it was Joan of Arc, though. But yeah. So, anyways, I'm not going to argue with you guys because my past lives are my past lives. But yeah. So, anyways, just wild how something can be thrown into the ocean, skipped across water, and then we can feel it light years away, literally light years away. So yeah, quite interesting stuff. And the fact is that even our ancestry into the future, because time is not linear, can definitely still impact us. Like the choices we make in the future can still impact us today. So anyways, all right, we have the Magician in the reverse, the first card out. This is somebody using black magic. Again, surprise, surprise. But I've had the Magician card in the upright for the past like week or so. So the fact that it came out like that, it's kind of annoying. Somebody's going to be experiencing a lot of bad luck and a lot of karma. We have the devil in the reverse. Wow. The magician and the devil in the reverse. That's crazy. The three of swords. So this person is up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Okay. They're experiencing a major loss while you're experiencing a win. Even if it doesn't feel like a win, it's a win for your ancestors and the people that came before you. Because literally, I don't feel like a lot of lineages have beat this devil energy. This devil energy is definitely what's influenced these Masons and these other people to attack randomly, to just randomly be aggressive. I mean, seriously, you know, I'm also getting stuff about like Napoleon having a negative, or I would say a dark influence. So like I was saying, you know, you could be skipping a rock across water and not, or yeah, basically skipping stones and not even be, you know, thinking about how that butterfly effect is going to affect a relative of yours or an ancestor or another person. Yeah, but it does, point blank period. It does. So also this person that's a black magician, they've got an extremely weak character. They're just weak as hell. Their reactions to everything, like they're experiencing major loss. Yeah, Napoleon, not a fun time. Yeah, the the Hermit in the reverse. See, the Three of Swords is like the ultimate betrayal, arguments with the lover. Obviously, these people are doing the black magic to mess with somebody's love relationship. They're also trying to mess with somebody's finances. So this Hermit in the reverse talks about them not being able to trust other people and other people's guidance. Which, again, if these people were getting guidance that was saying to attack you or to send this negative energy your way or to try to be a third party and cause an issue in your relationship, then they shouldn't have listened to that advice. I mean, these people were getting advice from the devil. I don't know what to say about that. Again, this Six of Wands in the reverse. This is like a sneak attack. This is backfired. They wanted to throw y'all's balance off. I'm just hearing somebody, they want to throw somebody's pH balance off, their everything. So it's like others basically don't want you to succeed at something. They feel like you having money or fame or something is a threat to them, and could be because they're doing illegal shit. But like I said, what we do today really does impact how our future life is going to be. And it also impacts the past in some type of way. So it's like the past, it's, if you could just take out time and remove past, present, and future and realize that it's all happening at once, you'll be able to retrieve all the information that you need. Because literally it is pretty much all happening at once. It's just we have in the third. Now, when you enter into the fifth dimension, though, because the time-space continuum exists in the 4D, when you enter into the fifth dimension, it's like the time barrier is removed and you're an eternal soul. That's why a lot of these demons are fifth dimensional beings. You know, a lot of them, I would say, a lot of the angels, the archangels can go. Why they have wings, this is one reason that they have wings, symbology, is because they can go up and down through the dimensions, helping different, because there is a type of angel for every type of being that exists. So like we're human beings. So there's an angel that resembles human beings. We call them archangels. Then there's dragon angel. Like think of every type of creation, and God has created an angel to protect that type of creation. So yeah. Also, I'm hearing that somebody wants you to miss out on your moment, like your moment to shine or your moment to gain. It's other people trying to take credit for the work that you've done. But they were just sitting by watching you work and not engaging. So also, the Hermit in the reverse tells you, it's like it's telling this person that they need to ask other people for their. First of all, they need to stop trusting other people, the wrong people, and they need to start asking spiritual people for advice. Because if they, you're dealing with somebody that goes to another magician, And then, of course, that magician only has one realm of advice, you know, like I was going to the different realms in the dream state. They only have one, throughout their eyes, they only have one like perspective of advice, right? And so these people were foolish enough to listen to some advice that did not come from a trustworthy source, somebody that's a fraud, you know? And so they're suffering for that because this sneak attack that they tried to throw ended up coming back on them, like big time. Big time. I also hear that, you know, this Nine of Cups energy is causing a lot of jealousy. It's causing a lot of jealousy. So I feel like, you know, this influence wants to take over. Even though the devil's in the reverse, it's causing this magician to act aggressively. Like I see somebody stabbing a voodoo doll over and over again, putting pins in it in every spot. Okay. You'll get to a point where people will try to do voodoo on you and you won't even feel it. You will literally not even know anything's happening because it will just stop affecting you. You know, I came into this life with so much protection against voodoo and bullshit because God knew that the moment that I came here, people were going to start trying to do witchcraft on me. So already I came with all of the protection and stuff like that, and dying and coming back and all that crap. So, you know, I'll only be allowed to die when my job is done. And who knows when that'll be, whenever God decides to say, okay, you don't need to do anymore. You've helped enough. But that's what I'm getting, is somebody's trying to get you when you're in your prime, like you guys are entering in your prime energy, you know. And I don't think that being in your prime has to do with I think it's probably a different age for different people, you know, so because everybody's lives are different. So they're trying to get you in your, like, this is not the time. If they were going to be successful at this dumb shit, they should have tried to do this sneak attack to you when you were a child. And maybe they did. But, you know, it was a general attack of any of the children. Have you guys ever wondered why you were abducted? It has to do with this black magic. I really feel like it has to do with some type of reptilian agenda. That's what I keep remembering more and more of when I was in the dream state and I was talking to Odin. Odin was showing me how these reptilians came to Asgard, fucked up Asgard, and like invaded Asgard, basically. And the Jotunheim ended up, the giants from Jotunheim, my ancestors, came and ended up helping Odin and those people because the reptilians were taking over the entire, like, whatever, galaxy, universe, whatever you call it. And so there was a time when the reptilians came in and were very persuasive. These shape-shifting weirdos were very persuasive to a lot of different types of planets and stuff like that to allow them there. But ultimately, what they've been trying to do since they came here was gain control and domination. That's all that they want, because they feel like for their they go through planet to planet to planet just destroying this shit. I mean, they literally destroy planet after planet after planet after planet. So it's like they come at these crucial times, like the time of Napoleon was one time they came. They came at the around the Ice Age. They came here multiple different times and have done the same exact agenda, which is throw a sneak attack, basically use the writings from the Codex Gigas, which is the Devil's Bible. And if you know about it, I've talked about it a couple times. There's missing pages from that book that basically is a formula to have reptilians bred into your bloodline or your DNA altered into that type of bloodline. So yeah, in the dream state, there was like definitely that other presence of reptilians, but they were all walking around as people. And really just creepy. Just creepy as all hell. So I don't know if the reptilians have anything to do with the Indian burial grounds, but I'm getting that they do. They have something to do with that. I just don't know what it is. So if you guys have lived on an Indian burial ground, you may be living on You know, I definitely did get that the serpent mound has something to do with the reptilians. And there's reptilians that are in space, and then there's reptilians that live in the earth, right? So one of the many different races that the Asgardians and the Pleiadians, it was almost like everybody in the universe, known universe, was teaming up to fight these reptilians because these reptilians were so about war and everybody else was about peace. So you guys, if you see somebody's eyes shapeshift and turn just like dragon-like, I would just be weary of that. If you get people staring at you really weird, there's a lot of them that are either coming out of hiding right now. What I was being told in the dream was that they're coming out of hiding right now because they feel like the planet's ready to accept their presence, which I completely disagree with that. I think people would freak out and again, there are lots of people that don't know about reptilians, but just think about it this way. The reptilians, all they can do is function from an aggressive state, like this devil in the reverse. All they can do is function from that state because, first of all, they do so much damn black magic. Fucking shit is ridiculous. And they have technology that they've been using against the humans a long time. And every time they would come to the humans would start worshiping them like gods. And that's why I call them space lizards, because they would go back into space and they would seed, you know, their generation. I'm not saying that reptilians are the worst thing possible, but we can obviously say that they only function from that one part of the brain because that's all they got, which is the reptilian brain, fight or flight response. And so I don't know why you guys are being attacked by reptilians, but this is weird. I was told that you guys would understand why, but to me, my human brain is like, if you don't know these reptilians, because some of you guys have reptilians that are not, not all reptilians are negative. They're mostly negative, but like some of them are actually trying to gain higher consciousness and they're actually ancestors, right? So there's different reptilians that come from different parts of space. Some of them are really mean. Some of them are not mean. But either way, they look at us as like a food source. You do see why? Yeah, they look at us as like a food source. And they're definitely threatened by anybody that could awaken the masses to the, first of all, the fact that they exist. You know, they're shapeshifters. And I do feel like maybe what it has to do with the Indian burial ground, maybe they can't set foot around that or something. I don't know what it is. But you know how skinwalkers are also shapeshifters. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's, you know, there's different types of shapeshifters and all different legends and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of it is these reptilians, and they hide themselves as, you know, as politicians and shit like that. And so in the past, wow, my ear just started ringing really loud. In the past, a lot of our presidents were reptilian, or they had at least that Codex Gigas ritual done on the bloodline so that the reptilians could influence or jump in the bodies of these people and take them over. Because they're very dominating. Like telepathically, the reptilians were very mentally dominating. And so they would dominate the primitive man. Like I said, they came here during the Ice Age type era. There were humans here. And then and then every time we have a major war, like I know people are all freaked out about World War III, but the past wars that we've had, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, all of these different wars is when every time we have a war, the reptilians show up in space. And it's like either they're the ones creating the wars, which I think that could actually be true, or they're just coming here when they feel the planet's fear level getting really high, or the destruction level, because that's what they feed off of is our energy. And so, you know, in my dream, Odin had some type of weapon that could be used against them. It was like a frequency that would make them shapeshift out of their like human form and back into their reptilian form. And so that he was like using this frequency. I don't think we have anything like that here on the earth, but it would be really cool if we could get something like that, because then we would be able to spot these people who are not actually people that eat children and shit alive. I mean, What I saw in the dream state was horrific, but it was also me looking through a lens of looking at them coming in the past. You know what I mean? And how they've influenced a lot of the history that we have. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Masons have had power for a minute, but it's, not as powerful as like the Most High. So that's why, don't put your faith in mankind. You went to Egypt to be free of that control. Yeah, that's another thing. Like literally, the reptilians not only were taking over and possessing the people, but they're also turning each other against each other, because that's all they do when they're in space is they bicker and fight. And they bite the heads off of their children and shit. Like, I'm not even kidding. They really do. And I feel like when they can't dig their claws into somebody that's in power, these people get pissed. Or these, not people, but reptilians, they get pissed. Like, that's what I was thinking. Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great, for extremely important reasons. So these reptilians do have technology, and it's basically the technology that we have: computers, iPhones, that type of shit. And they also have more advanced technology that has not been given to us. But I do feel like right now we're getting another influx of reptilians, and they're here mainly to dominate whatever political situation is going to go on, so that they can use it to feed off of. And there's some that live deep in the inner earth, and with like the dogmen and shit like that. And then there's some that are just literally walking around, but just looking like people. And every once in a while, something about them will shapeshift, and people will catch it on video or whatever. But yeah, we're experiencing right now a lot of that fight or flight response. That's why I was saying yesterday to try to not get triggered when something tries to trigger you. Try to not put off that big amount of fear energy, because if you've got somebody that is a reptilian that's around you, or even if they're part reptilian, because the Luciferian half-breeds and all of that, or even if they're part succubus, I don't care what they are. If they're not all 100, and I'm not judging anything that's not human, but I'm just saying these beings are trying to imitate what it's like to be a person, but they don't have the emotional capability to be a person. Okay, so it's like they want to be a person because they want to fit in with the rest of us so that they can go undetected, but they don't have emotions. 10 of Swords. This is literally the ultimate betrayal. These reptilians ultimately, I feel like they do target certain souls, either souls that they've manipulated before, or souls that they haven't been able to touch. And so, this 10 of Swords is God saying enough. Like, I really feel like God is going to do something. The Most High is going to do something to change the DNA of the reptilians, because the reptilians are jealous because we have something that they don't. Like genetically, we have something that they don't possess, which is why they're not like, that's why in Atlantis, the reptilians had two different branches. You could either go into like war and science and technology and that type of area, or you could go into black magic. We're looking at the reptilians that went into black magic. And the devil in the reverse, to me, is a reptilian pretending to be a human, or a reptilian hybrid. And again, there are reptilians that are not negative. I'm not talking about those. But yeah, those are, I think the ones that are more dragon-like are nicer. The ones that are more like serpent-like, they may be a little bit meaner. But then it got me thinking. Okay, so thank you, Ragnarok. My next thing. It got me thinking that, in the Bible, when it says like after the serpent deceives Adam and Eve in the garden, God punishes the serpent and tells the serpent that from now on, it's going to crawl on its belly. So that means at that point, this was a two-legged, or who knows how many legged, but a serpent that was able to stand on its legs, or at least had legs, because then from now on it was doomed to crawl on its belly. That shit totally mind fucked me, because I was being shown that in the dream, that there was different experiments that God had going on. God had Adam and Eve with an earth-like situation, and then a whole bunch of different pairs, and of all different, skin types and all that. So there was many different experiences like that going at that time. And the fact that God, basically, what I'm thinking is that the serpent from the garden could have been a reptilian, because then after it came and it spoke to Adam and Eve about the fruit, then God cursed it to crawl in its belly. So yeah, these beings are carrying a 10 of wands. They want to relieve their burden, and they've gotten so used to just their war and their battle and their fighting. I feel like there's one type of reptilian that is, like I said, more dragon-like. And it doesn't mean that they have wings, but their mentality is more dragon-like. Those are the ones that are actually protective of this planet and this realm. But the ones that come from that, like, serpent in the garden, yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I'm talking about. That serpent in the garden, the one that's a trickster, that's deceptive. Because, like, it just doesn't line up with anything with Lucifer. So it just makes more sense. Now, and then also in Genesis, when it says, let us make man in our image. Like, okay, what are they talking about? That must have been the Anunnaki or something. Because let us, that's plural, make man in our image, right? So I feel like there's a lot of things that are just inconsistent, basically, with the stories that we've been told. They leave a lot out. And I feel like there is a body of knowledge that these reptilians want. And they're searching for the people on the planet right now to obtain this knowledge. And I think it goes a little bit beyond having emotions. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's exactly what you guys have, a tour of knowledge within you. Yeah. And so they want this secret heavenly knowledge that they can't get from God, because God's not going to give them knowledge that they would use to be destructive with. So it's like they feel like humans are a source of food, a source of energy, and a source of knowledge. That's what they feel like. And they're about to find out that humans are going to be living in the Nine of Cups. These people that are reptilians. Okay, what I was shown in the dream state was like, all of the beings that had gathered together to stop the reptilians, that those are coming to the earth. They're going to have some type of scanning system where they can scan people. And if they're, whatever their number, pH number, whatever, it falls below a certain level, then those people are going to be taken out some type of way. It could be with a plague. It could be with some type of shit like that. But that's what I was being shown, is is going to be an eradication of this type of energy, this predator. And I don't want to say predator, because the being predator, those are real as well. That's one of my ancestors. But not scary to me, because it's, again, predator's only going to attack anything that's an actual threat. So if we had reptilians here, and then they dropped a whole planet, a whole spaceship of predators here, God, that would be the best movie ever. The predators could definitely take out the reptilians. And so, they're in fear of that. Yes. Yeah, the Federation. Yeah, you could call it a Federation, because, again, it was like Odin, and it was Pleiadians and all different types of star beings that were coming together to keep these reptilians away. Because this 10 of Wands, trying to burden humanity with fighting a war that started in space, like it started basically on Asgard and other places like that. This Knight of Cups energy is something that these reptilians want. They don't know how to make their wishes come true. Yeah, this is justice for the human race. We don't want to be fed on. We don't deserve that. We definitely don't deserve that. And just like how everything can be redeemed and saved if it repents and stuff like that. I feel like these reptilians are going to be given a chance to repent and do better. And I feel like most of them are not going to repent. And so they may just be annihilated. I mean, it may be, and again, what I was shown in the dream state was like us being able to see people's real faces. So like people are calling it demon face syndrome or whatever, where you're looking at somebody and then their face just completely changes. You're like, what the hell? I've seen with a lot of celebrities that exact thing, from like Katy Perry footage to Beyonce, a lot of different celebrities. And so anyways, just really bizarre. But we're going to be seeing that more often. And I feel like the world's going to play us, like gaslight us into thinking that, okay, this is not happening. Like we're clearly seeing somebody's fucking demon face for what it is. And they're going to tell us that, oh, it's just something our mind's making up. But no, it's definitely something that has to do with discernment, because this is definitely oh my God. This justice has like been a long time coming. It just really has been a long time coming. Oh, wow. Reptiles have 2 sets of eyelids. I did not know that. But yeah. Yeah. Do not awaken Thor. I love Thor. I am such a freaking obsessed. I love Thor so much. So anyways, but yeah. And I love Odin. I love all of the Norse gods. And I like the Pleiadians too. I feel like there's good and bad of every breed, but when it comes to this reptilian crap and whatever they're doing with this black magic in the Codex Gigas to basically lower people's frequencies and make them susceptible to their warfare, I feel like it's coming to an end. And it could be one reason I was shown that, Rump, person in office, is not a reptilian. People of the past were. That's probably why all these crazy decisions are being made, because this person's not controlled by the reptilian forces that were in power. But I would not be surprised if these black magicians, and again, these serpent people do black magic. Like I was saying, in Atlantis, they had 2 different avenues. They could go into the black magic, like exploration, trial by error, experimenting on people that way, or they could go into the scientific way. And so the ones that went into the magical way, they were the ones that were messing with the crystals and stuff like that, the crystals in the sunlight, which again, it could be extremely dangerous. But yeah, I'm not trying to say that they're 100% to blame, but like for the most of the wars we've had on this planet, the reptilians have been behind that, because they feed off of our energy, and they do that by latching on to us. And so if we raise our frequencies and access Christ consciousness, it's going to take us out of that low vibration where these beings have an effect on us. It's going to basically take us out of that frequency. And that's why in my dream, like the Anunnaki, they had some type of technology they were developing, and they were giving it to the rest of the universe to use to basically scan somebody and see if they're a reptilian or not. Yeah, feeding and messing with humans. That's exactly it. Just like demons feed on energy. And I'm wondering if these things could, the demons of the past, I'm wondering if these could be reptilian families. Queen of Cups, the Queen of England, the one that passed away, I don't know, recently-ish. I don't really follow up with that stuff because I'm not from England, but she was this energy, this Queen of Cups in the reverse. She was like one of the queen. What I saw in the dream state was she was one of the queen hybrids, that it's like one entity that keeps reincarnating into people or taking them over, whatever. And yeah, I always had really weird feeling about her. But basically, the world was trusting and loving this queen that was basically a reptilian, 100% reptilian. Perverse, twisted, crafty, and dishonest, immoral. She uses people, then discards them. Do not trust her. Yeah. Yeah, the older and ancient depictions of demons are dragon-like. Exactly. Like in the Codex Gigas, there's a big picture of, the devil, and it kind of looks like a dragon. It kind of looks like a dragon monster. But yeah, she molds her shell a lot. Like, this is crazy. And so I feel like this energy is trying to reincarnate or come back here, but something's stopping it. And it could be the Galactic Federation of Light. Two of Swords, creative and intellectual rut, stagnation. Like, they're being stagnated because they don't have a ruling power, ruling force on this planet anymore. And so maybe that's how the shift is going to happen. But I feel like the reptilians have almost created a certain dimension or something. They have created some type of earth where I just think that they've messed with the ley lines or something. They've done something to really screw up this planet. And these reptilians will talk a lot. They'll talk a lot about anything that could trigger somebody. So that's how you're going to know who they are. One, by their eyes changing. They are losing control because people are waking up. They are losing control. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what they wanted the entire time, was to have control. They wanted to have an obstruction of justice. And God's like, no. God's done. God's like, you guys are finished. Eight of Cups. They're going to have to walk away from doing this to the human race. And they're also, whatever agreements that the government in the past made with the reptilians to allow them to abduct us and experiment on us. Not cool, bitches. Not cool. So also, that is coming to an end. And they were experimenting on us, trying to create the perfect hybrid or whatever. I don't know what they're trying to create, some weird antichrist shit, but it's basically coming to an end. Yes, a separation between the old world and the new world. That's exactly it. And these ones are like of the old world. And so they're going to stay in that lower vibration and stay in that other earth. What I saw is that the more people that wake up, we actually almost make like a rainbow bridge to the new world, to the new earth. And then from that earth, we can still look at the old earth and see what's happening. You know what I mean? We can still look at the old earth and see like what is happening to it and stuff like that, but we won't be a part of it. And that's part of whatever the rapture is, which it sounds kind of scary to have a rapture, like for all of a sudden half the people to be gone, or I guess it's only 144,000. So it's not half the people, but it's the most important people. I could tell you that the ones that are going to be leaving, it's the most important people. And it's basically those 144,000 as are here to awaken the masses. And and God's just like, as many people as can be awakened, as we can awaken, we will awaken them. And again, if they want to do right by acknowledging their higher self and acknowledging the spirit, the spiritual realm, that it exists, then God has no problem letting them come to a new earth. But if they want to stay in that old vibration and that old way of thinking, and if they want to stay trying to create war and violence and stuff like that, then, they're going to have to stay in the old earth, and God may end up destroying that planet at some point. So I do feel like these reptilians, instead of they have some type of way of shape shifting into changing their age or whatever. It's like these beings, once they die, they know they're fucked, because once they die, then basically God is going to put them through the ringer. But if they can prolong their death by transforming into people or taking over somebody's body, which is like the kind of skinwalker type thing, you know what I mean? Look at this, the Queen of Wands. Yeah, they're going to find trying to find another person to manipulate. I'm not kidding. They want somebody that's got power. And what Spider-Man or Spider-Man's daddy said, maybe it was his grandpa, I don't know. Whoever is the parent of Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. And so again, they're looking here at us and they're seeing us get more powerful every day that goes by. And that's actually a threat to them. So it's threatening their future plans. But at the same time, there are reptilians that do support the human race. So we are here to get justice. You know, it may not look like what we think it's going to look like at first, but it will bring peace. Yeah, these beings are in the 9 of Swords. They're upset about this. I'm seeing somebody go into a Walmart, and then all of a sudden you're going to be somebody that watches this video. You're going to be looking, see a cute little brownie over there. You're going to be looking in Walmart, and every person that comes up to you is going to have fucked up eyes. Like they're literally going to have some type of weird stare going on. Like, I don't know how to mimic it, but it's going to be feeling really uncomfortable. Okay. So like these reptilians are drawn to light like a moth to a flame. So that's what I'm saying about you guys, that you may find yourself in a public place. Okay. I'll tell you about my personal experience with reptilian in person that scared the shit out of me. So on the side of my car, I have this decal that says Enlightened Journeys, Astraea Love, and whatever my information was. I was at a gas station, and this Hispanic worker came up and tapped on my other window, not the one, like if I'm driving, I was getting gas, tapped on my other window. So I rolled it down, and he stuck his head in the window and he said, "Oh, you're a psychic?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What do you see about me?" And his eyes fucking changed, dude. They completely changed to a lizard's eyes. Like, I was like so scared. I was so fucking scared. But yeah, that was the first time that I had ever really seen that I could remember. Like, but yeah. I was like, I have to go, and just bounced. And then from that point on, I was like, damn, that shit really exists. Like, I can't believe that. Yeah, the ones that stare at you all weird, there is something going on with that. They're watching very intently because they're waiting for somebody to do something. Like I said, these beings want to hitchhike a ride into the new earth and into heaven so that they can destroy that too. Because everywhere they go, they basically destroy shit. If it's not destroying an entire race, it's destroying something, another resource on the planet, you know? 6 of Pentacles. Yeah. Again, with the Queen of England thing, like everything about taxes, everything about all of these things that we accept into our life as being norms, these are all reptilian practices. Okay. So they, you know, have basically, governments have been making deals with these creatures for a very long time. And we've been getting breadcrumbed in every situation. You know, we may get a little bit of the technology, but we have to suffer. We're selling the souls of orphans and shit like that to these reptilians to just experiment on. And then the grays work for the reptilians, basically. I mean, not all of them, I'm sure, but the ones that come and do the experiment, like why they're experimenting on us. And I don't care what they say. I've never seen that they're a version of us from the future. I think that that's a lie. And they're just saying that shit. So it makes it easier for us to swallow the fact that they're trying to experiment on us because they can't reproduce. And thank God for that, because they're artificially made life anyways. So their conscious seems a little artificial. The fact that all of their bodies are the same, and the fact that they abduct us when we're young, because once we get older, what, a little midget reptilian gray type thing tries to approach me, I'm going to kick the shit out of it. Just straight up. We become more powerful the older that we get, right? And the more that we step into our power. So yeah, a lot of these experimentation things that everybody's been going through, it's literally trying to create, they've been trying to create blended breeds of people. They've also been trying to create hybrids, and yeah, just doing any type of experimentation with black magic and with science to change the human form so that humans become psychic beings and shit like that. But yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it actually makes a lot of sense, because if they could control the vibration of people, then they can control the world. And so they have been controlling the world with fear and war and depravity and shit like that. But, you know, that time is like over. Now they're experiencing the breadcrumb. They're also fighting amongst one another. The ones that are still alive on this planet are fighting, you know. They're also experiencing bad luck because God is not pleased with their behavior, to say the least. These people, or these beings, whatever you want to call them, reptile people, they don't really believe in God like that. Like, they believe that they are God, and so they don't really believe in God because they think that they are God. And they think that they are God to the human race, and that's where they really effed up. Because no, they're not. I mean, if they were our gods like they say they are, which is bullshit, but if they were, then we would resemble them. You know what I'm saying? Not the other way. In point blank period. If they were our gods and we were made in their image, then we would look like them. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. They're not. They are not God. But when they come back here, they're going to play that shit. They're going to tell anybody that they abduct, they're going to tell everybody that they're God. Like, that's what they already have planned, because that's what they did before. And they believe that they're gods because they don't die for like thousands of years, you know, but they're not. They're not gods. And they're not human gods, and they don't have the ability to process emotions, which means they don't understand fear. So when they're tormenting us, like, I had a reptilian guide that I had to completely send away because it was doing shit to scare me. And it didn't understand that I was scared. Like, that's, having the ability to process emotions is like super important. And these beings don't have that capability. That's why they study us so carefully. And that's why you'll see, when you see them in public, you're like, what is this, like almost automaton, whatever they're called? What is this almost robotic looking thing? Why does it move like that? I mean, I have been seeing these my whole life, but I didn't know what to call it. I just thought maybe they were demons. You know what I mean? But, you know, and maybe demons were molded after them, because I could see, like, looking at one and then drawing it based on your artistic skills, how that could translate over, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely crazy with their experimentation and their technology. Their technology has gotten better over time. Yeah, this 3 of Wands energy talks about the human race making a different plan. We're going a different route this time. You know, being obedient because of fear. God's telling us not to be afraid. And so if God's saying that we don't need to be afraid of these reptilians, and all that they've been really doing to you since you've been an adult is watching like a weirdo, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of your guys' neighbors, maybe these things, all they can do right now is watch, because we're covered by God and the Holy Spirit, and the archangels don't play. And so they basically are watching us, trying to mimic our behavior so that they can understand what emotions are like. But like I was saying, they don't have that capability. I know that God is going to hopefully change something about that for them so they can experience joy, fear, love. I mean, those are like really important things to have in an experience, just like really, really important things to have. And happiness, you know what I mean? They're usually only happy when they're getting to engage in very aggressive behavior. And that's why this 5 of Wands, this is aggression. You know, you have different reptilians clans that are fighting. What they were doing throughout the earth is they were going to these leaders like Napoleon, going to these leaders like Alexander the Great, going to these leaders and then trying to influence and take over, so that one breed of reptilian would be the one ruling the world. They even did this shit to Hitler. They really, really pollute and pervert the gene pool. And they've been doing it with black magic and stuff. And so, you know, back in the times of like the city of El Dorado, when these reptilians showed up, people thought that they were gods, but they're not. They're not gods. So that's how they got the god shit. Like, that's how they got the god complex, is because at an early point in history, when they came to the planet, the people thought that they were gods. Most likely, 1, because they came from the sky, and 2, because they're something different. You know what I mean? So, kind of interesting. But yeah, the Most High God is not impressed. This 4 of Swords, this is the ending of a battle for them. This has been a long time of them experiencing bad luck and negative karma for doing what they've been doing to mankind. And if you think that the fallen angels were being punished bad for what they gave to, or the watchers or whatever, again, all of the fallen watchers are on this planet right now. But if you think that those were getting punished, you know what I mean? Yeah, bloodline of Cain. Yeah, if you thought that that was bad, that is not even nothing compared to what these reptilians are going to get slapped with, the ones that don't change. And God is like not budging on that. And so these reptilians hate when they come across somebody who cannot be manipulated. And when you pull your energy and your power back, it drains the reptilians. Wow. And seriously, the archangels are like, what's fair is fair, you know? But yeah, it's wild. And I feel like the humans, we've been trying to create some type of technology to destroy the reptilians altogether. But I don't think that people have realized that if we were to create that, it would take out a lot of the population, because there's a lot of people on this planet that are reptilians still. It's Page of Cups. They've always been giving these fishy ass offers. And so literally, you know, the United States could be coming up with a fishy offer to give these beasts. They really are like, they are very much into war and warrior, and other than that, they don't have a social structure that's social, because reptilians don't hang out with one another unless they're like on an assignment. This Page of Cups, this fishy ass offer, I literally feel like there's been something that's been created that if you give it to a reptilian, it will cause them to shapeshift into their true form. And like in my dream, it was a frequency that Odin was talking about that they were working on, but you know, it could be something else. Yeah, yeah, you ready to go full Viking? Absolutely. They definitely have big egos. You're definitely right about that. And they don't have the ability to perceive, like they want all these psychic powers and stuff, but they don't have the ability to perceive things correctly. So that's why they're not into psychic powers and abilities. First of all, to operate psychic powers and abilities, you have to have a soul. I don't think that these things have a soul. That could be one reason that they hate humans. You know, if we were created with a soul and they were not, I could see definitely, you know, them being jealous over that shit. But yeah, the Empress, look at that. So there is definitely a feminine energy, and this could even be your divine feminine energy rising up. The new children that are being born of this earth are like, they're uncorruptible. God is changing something in the human DNA. And like I said, I think that the Anunnaki maybe have some reptilian within them, but they have more of that other, you know, like maybe human like or something like that. They have more of that other that gives them the ability to reason, you know. And so these it's just a lot of beings that were priests. Like, I don't know. I just see that it's a lot of different people. It's going to be crazy. 9 of Wands. This is like the ending of a war that we didn't know was happening. You know what I mean? Yeah, you always get the Empress card. It's like we didn't know that the shit was happening, but it is ending. And God wants everybody to know that the reason things have been so low vibrational is because these reptilians, you know, they literally, you guys are protected by Archangel Michael. And didn't Archangel Michael cast the dragon down into the pit? Everything just keeps pointing to these reptilians. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like, that's the lesson that I was learning in the dream state, is that everything kind of points to the same thing. We could look at it as like the ego, the lower self, or we could look at it as, you know, that one part of our brain from one part. 7 of Wands in the reverse. Yeah. So they definitely want everybody to be confused about what to do and where to go and who to follow. That's definitely been part of their agenda. If they can keep us kind of like the Tower of Babel, if they can keep us from being able to communicate and understand each other, then they can keep turmoil and violence going. And then if they do that, then they're always winning because that's what they feed off of. I'm wondering why these reptilians haven't figured out that the most powerful force that you could even compare to is the most high, and that's a very high vibration. I don't know why they want to commit to the low vibration. There's 2 of Pentacles in the reverse. They can't handle several responsibilities. These beings have been at work on this for freaking decades, not just decades, but hundreds of years, like hundreds of years of history of these beings being in power. And again, why are they even here? Because they've destroyed their home planet. They're being outcasted. They straight up destroyed their home planet by basically running it into the ground, deteriorating, just taking all of its resources and screwing it over. So then they started to go to other planets, and then they started taking over other planets and other star systems. I'm definitely hearing from Orion, probably destroy. And also, some of these reptilians cannot reproduce, and some of the grays can't reproduce because they're artificially created. But yeah, some of these reptilians cannot reproduce, and they want that. They want to be able to reproduce with humans because then they get the hybrid, and then they can jump into the human body at any time, right? 8 of Swords. The 5 of Pentacles to the 8 of Swords. Yeah, they're restricted. Without having a human body, they're restricted. And, you know, these beings, there are higher powers than these creatures, and they need to understand that why they're being imprisoned and hunted down now is because they should not have come here at this time to do this dumb shit. They were warned at the last eon. No, they were warned at Atlantis when they screwed everything up there. Okay. And I'm sure probably before that as well. These beings have existed for a very long time. Like I said, they lived thousands of years. And so over time, they've been losing the ability to procreate. And that's what they look at humans for. The 4 of Pentacles, what we inherit. I don't know. They really want to gain access to somebody that has superpowers and psychic abilities. You may be a super soldier and not even know it. You know what I mean? They want access to these people. They want access to this divine feminine so that they can find another body to reincarnate this queen, reptile queen thing. Yeah, literally. I feel like there are so many forces against us now. Against this, not us. I feel like we're actually getting help. The world is actually going to get better. You know what I mean? And we're going to feel the shift. We're going to feel things shift as we shift into a new state of being where we're completely aware. Other people are going to start waking up and they're going to start seeing reptiles everywhere. Like I'm telling you guys, if you guys have that experience where you walk into like a Walmart or a CVS or something, and then everybody in there is a reptilian, that's going to be your sign. Like, and that's when you ask, what's going on within me? What light am I holding that's drawing these beings of pure darkness in? Knight of Wands. They're looking for somebody to literally take over and have sex with. I'm not kidding. Their needs are very primal. Very, very primal. Yes, I do think some of the people that stare at you weird are reptilians. And I think that if you would look at their eyes, you would see them shapeshift right in front of your face. Oh my God, it's sad. But yeah, literally, I do feel like they want to have sex or some type of, that's why when a lot of people were talking about the satanic panic, I wonder if the shit that these Luciferians work with are these reptilians. I know that they work with vampires and werewolves, and dogmen and shit like that, and skinwalkers. But yeah, I think that it could be very possible that these Luciferians are working with some type of reptilian force. The Fool! Look at that. So literally, I was getting that this is a futile plan. Because we've advanced to a point where we can be aware of this and then therefore do something about it. These beings are up under judgment and they don't want to be. And this is why I said the 144,000, those are the ones that are calling judgment. I can feel it happen collectively. So yeah, there may be a scanning device or some type of technology that ends up being developed. The sun, something with the sun, it could very well, like, you know, I mean, first of all, them draining our energy and feeding off of our fear is extremely vampiric. Like, that's just extremely vampiric in the first place. But all vampirism and lycanthropy or any type of canthropy stems from black magic, or from being there's that, and then it could be like how Cain was cursed by God. But yeah, the sun, you guys are the sun. We hold the energy of the sun. So it may be something about, you know, their relation to the sun also, about how they feel like they have influence. I mean, reptilians have to be able to sit out underneath the sun because they have cold blood. Yeah, yeah. You're cursed to tell the truth. You know what that reminds me of? There was a Jim Carrey movie. I think it's called Liar Liar. You got to check it out. Like, it is hilarious. So I think his child makes a wish. I won't spoil the whole thing, but I think his child makes a wish that he can't tell a lie for a day. And then it is, yeah, Liar Liar. It is the funniest movie ever. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's hilarious. You've seen it? Oh my gosh. I love that movie. I was just thinking of that when you said that. I'm cursed to not tell a lie. Oh my gosh. And he has to be honest about everything, but then it ends up being like relief, like it's relieving, you know? The Two of Cups. Look at this. A new love affair. This is what I'm saying. They think that we're dumb enough to mate with them again. This is not going to happen. And all of these hybrids that have been created that exist here, they're going through some type of evolution because of the codes that come from the sun. There are always different codes that come from the sun. So this Two of Cups, this is like coming into connection with the universe, being one with the universe and being one with the Most High, which I absolutely love that for you guys, because these forces have just been here for too long. It's like they need to go through an evolutionary change or die out, because every world would be better without them. But I do understand why God let them live up until this point, at least, because they've served as a darkness. You know what I mean? It's like how balance has to be restored in the universe. I do know that is true. So, yeah. I mean, if we all had only light, there wouldn't be dark. But I think that we're shifting into new dimensions and new realities where there is more light than there's dark, where there's higher vibration over lower vibration. And if you want to engage in the lower vibration, then you've really got to step out of who you truly are, which people are not going to be willing to do that. Yeah, these hierophants and the reverses that keep selling our fucking energy, and these people in the government to the freaking reptilians making agreements. It's like, just because the presidents and people that made the agreements with the reptilians are not here, I don't think that I think those covenants and whatever they are should be broken. Exactly. Judgment. I think they should be broken, because they've been definitely spying on us through, and that's why you have the people that look at you strange as hell. Like, they be spying on us through people that they can easily possess and manipulate. But once that aspect is taken away, and I know that this is God at work, because God can do anything, we're going to be freed from we're going to be free enough to be able to choose our own path, basically. Yeah. The Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, you guys are going to still remain self-sufficient and independent. We've never really needed the reptilians, and we would be just fine without makeup, just fine without all the shit that they brought to this planet. We would be okay without it. You know, I mean, we still have fire. We still have the moon to light up the sky. We would be okay without it, you know. Yeah. these officers. So I don't know why I keep getting that there's a group of officers, or maybe there's like secret police or some shit like that, that work up underneath the moon. These are definitely people that belong to Illuminati and Freemasons, and they work with these reptilian forces. They just don't know that they do. And it's always to stop you guys from completing your divine work and mission here. I mean, if the reptilians could get their hands on a psychic, they would freaking be so excited. They would be like torturing that person to give them the future. And again, gifts don't work like that. You can't pry it out of somebody, but these beings only know force. And so that's what, you know, somebody was trying to use the moon to stop you. That was foolish of them to think that they could do that. And just because it worked in the past, again, this moon magic crap, I don't know who has originated with that, but I wish that they never existed, because it would have caused this moon magic has caused so many people's fates and destinies to be destroyed, literally. And of course, everybody chooses their own destiny and their own fate. But if people didn't have the allure to go, oh, I can just go up under the moon and do some fucking witchcraft and then make my situation positive. Yeah, you guys are entering into the Wheel of Fortune because of this Eight of Pentacles work that you do. These good deeds, this virtuous work. And these beings may be a spirit of delay for people, trying to delay these love unions from coming in, from people awakening and having more star children. It's because they're extremely dissatisfied with this moon magic crap, whatever they've been on for all these centuries and thousands of years. They're dissatisfied with the outcome because it's like a band-aid, or it's just not giving them what they really need. And I'm really hearing that the children of Tiamat are not a problem, but it's these other whatever from Draco reptilize, whatever. What is it? Draco Zeculi, something like that is what I'm hearing. But yeah, they're from definitely some type of star system in Orion. The High Priestess in the reverse. Yeah, this queen hybrid person is a High Priestess in the reverse, which means they're, you know, obviously they specialize in magic and shape-shifting. And then I'm seeing robes. I'm seeing these beings wear robes. Kind of like in my dream, they were wearing robes. The Six of Swords, yeah. Unfavorable judgment. Unfavorable judgment by God, truly. They may be fleeing underwater. They may be fleeing underwater. So there may be an underwater reptilian base. They may be fleeing to a base that's underwater. They may be fleeing just in general. I mean, when the archangels start showing up, these beings have a problem. The Three of Cups. They were waiting for the humanity to become ripe so that they could have a good harvest, not realizing that now that we call our energy back from these reptilians, that we're harvesting them. Literally. They are in retreat mode. Now that we've gotten our power back, we're harvesting them. We're calling all of our power and energy back through all times, dimensions, possible realities, multiverses, and everything else that could and could not exist. We're calling our power and energy back to us. Yeah, we are taking over this planet because we can do something positive with it. These other beings are going to do the same shit that they were doing before. So yeah, we're being gifted the earth, and the earth is a gift that we should love. A 10 of Pentacles, which is like, you know, we have the ability to support ourselves. If it wasn't for these reptilians and their ways of thinking, rationing, and first of all, homeless people wouldn't exist. I don't mean to blame them for every problem, but I could literally psychically see how every problem that the human race has is based off of something that these fucking reptilians have done. So God is like not tolerating them anymore. Not for humanity. Seven of Pentacles. These beings are going to have to F off, go back to wherever they came from. And they won't be taking over. I get a massive plan to take over. Like a lot of times when you see cops do something irrational, like unalive somebody without having a reason to, or beat the crap out of somebody like Rodney King, those were reptilians, okay? Trying because they need to keep the race wars going. They need to keep all of this crap going because that's what they feed off of. That's why they're basically mostly negative. Yeah, absolutely. You are an alien. And so am I. But we're not this type of alien because our people don't do this dumb shit. Like our ancestors literally don't do this dumb shit. So it just makes me feel like, there's good and bad of every type of race, I'm sure. But like these beings don't feel like they need to treat us light workers like we're human with human rights because we're not human, but being angels and being something that's totally alien and new to this world, that's a precious gift. That's a precious gift, especially because a lot of us come in as a higher vibration than what the planet is. And we have to lower our vibration to even be here. I remember I had to do that, as a child, lower my vibration all the time to understand people. This also talks about wishing won't make it so. These beings, whatever they're called, whatever they are, they won't be able to overcome the constraints of this reality. Yes, absolutely. And the Pleiadians and Anunnaki are the ones that, like in my dream, they all came to help. The Syrians came to help. The Arcturians came to help. The Hadarians, there weren't very many of them, but they came to help. Also, like Star Wars beings came to help. All right, let's get an outcome. Oh, the tower. So this is the ultimate outcome for these beings, as being in the tower. They're in major trouble because they spent their time developing darkness and like energetic implants and shit like that, and microchips and stuff like that to put into people to mess with them. They should have been developing a way for them to procreate. I mean, they should have been focusing on something else. So yeah, these beings are going to be in the tower for a lot of time. We're going to feel their energy retreat. And the more that we call our energy back to us, the more that we take our power back. But just know that as you do this and as you go through this cleansing process, that it may be very possible that you'll be somewhere and you'll be surrounded by, Atlantis past life. You'll be surrounded by reptilians at some point. And it's like they're just watching you very, like they're trying to use telepathy in a negative way to get into your head to communicate with you. All you have to do is say, Most High, I do not give any extraterrestrial anything consent to telepathically communicate with me. Like, because that's what they want to do, is they want to get, by staring at you, they want to go inside your mind and take over and start to control shit. Yeah, Atlantis was flooded for many reasons. Yeah, definitely was a divine thing, though. A sleepwalker for sure. Yeah, definitely move around to other worlds and dimensions. Absolutely. I think everybody does to a certain degrees, but then the ones I would call dreamwalkers and sleepwalkers are people that have become lucid. And when you're lucid, you can like remember what happens. I love when people have lucid dreams because I think it's so interesting. I could spend an entire lifetime studying dreams and I would just be interested forever. All right, you guys, I'm going to shut the reading down. God bless you. Why was Alexandria burnt? Well, from what they say in history, that Alexandria was burnt because there was knowledge in it. Like, I would say it's kind of like Necronomicon knowledge that was in that library. But the thing is that all of our clocks and our time, basically, that we have was basically stolen by Julius Caesar from the Alexandrian library. And then they burnt after they stole what they thought they could use, they burned the rest of it. Which I think it's irrelevant because everything was written. They didn't even have tablets at the time. Everything was written on like goat skin. So, and that's why the whole bookworm thing. So, and they were all scrolls. So again, if any of it existed now, it would have deteriorated. So they did take the moon system. They took a lot of stuff from the Aztec people and from that library. Then they created their own time. And Julius Caesar added an extra day in whatever month. Is it August or something? But yeah, they definitely wanted to control the power, because if you have power to connect with other worlds and to do rituals, you know, there was probably a lot of 222 on the clock. There's probably a lot of reptilian spells that was in there. Okay, you guys, have a beautiful day. Know that God loves you. Know that I love you. Know that this situation's getting worked on and things are going to get better. Okay, until the next reading, peace be with you guys. Have a wonderful day. Please like the video, hit the share button, subscribe, and the notification bell and all that good stuff so you guys know when I'm live. All right, I'm sending you guys air hugs and all the support that you need to move forward in a positive way. All right, know that God loves you, and so do I. Peace be with you, you guys. Bye.